Yeah.
So I was like, let's hide it in the garden.
Yeah, she's like, can you bury this in your garden? I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, you kicked me very hard in the ribs, which still, when it's cold out, I can feel.
And then I yell, hello. It was like so much fun to shoot. Hello!
You were right.
I want to take us back to actually the first movie. We're almost, 10 years now since Guardians 1, Time Flies. When you first received, the call to say, hey, we want you to be in a film with a talking tree and a talking raccoon, what's your initial reaction to that?
Okay, that was me. I was just like, okay. And then how much are they paying? and then having a conversation with James Gunn, there was just something I'm like, that guy's wacky. I kind of like him. I wonder what he's gonna do with this. I have a feeling he's gonna do a great job.
Well, my first thing that I heard was that they were like, are you willing to shave your head? And I had no other context, and I was like, what for? And then I heard a Marvel movie, and then I basically said yes. And then I auditioned, and I didn't really know much about it, and I never got to read the script before I got the role. And I was like, you know what? They seem to know what they're doing over at Marvel, so I'm gonna just cast my fate to the wind. And luckily, they definitely did.
Trust well put.
Yeah. I was in a slightly different place in my career. I mean, you had done Avatar at that point, hadn't you?
Yeah, I was a bit arrogant, yeah, for sure.
You weren't arrogant.
Well,
you were
I guess
arrogant,
I'll do
but you
another
could afford at that point to be kind of discerning as to what came in. You were at that, you'd cross into that threshold where, it's important to say no to things that weren't right. So you may have had to consider whether or not this was right. And that's a tough place to be in when you're approaching a film like this, which 10 years ago everyone thought was going to fail. For me, I was just thrilled to be able to do anything. And I was like moments away from gladly accepting a Friskies commercial. So for me, when I got the call that I got the job, I was very excited. And then immediately it became daunting to think wow, well, now we have to make a movie. And also, can I finally read the script?
I mean, to be honest, most people that I know that are massive Parks and Recs fan would have just seen it strictly to see Andy in a superhero movie anyway. So.
Oh yeah, oh that's nice.
So, I mean, there was confidence behind it from certain audiences.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, but the thing is, when you audition for these movies, usually it's super secretive.
Yeah.
So you don't know the role of your character, you don't really know the story. They give you just a few hints of things, and then when you actually audition, they give you a fake audition.
Scene.
It's not even the words that are going to be in the movie, but it's something that's kind of similar in the way the character would react. So it's very confusing. So there's not much to that you know.
Yeah. When you compare that now to present day, when you got the Volume 3 script, or at least maybe the secret scripts, what was your reaction now compared to then? Is it completely different in terms of going into this one?
Well, we read the script for Volume 3 together.
We read it together, and back then it was when James was not supposed to direct the movie anymore.
Right.
So we were heartbroken, and then I went over to her place and we read the script together, and we cried the whole time.
It was
like, oh, this is so good. And then we tried to hide the script because we're scared of people.
Pom is paranoid about people finding her stuff.
I love to hide stuff, and then I can't find it. I'm like a squirrel.
Yeah.
So I was like, let's hide it in the garden.
Yeah, she's like, can you bury this in your garden? I was like, what are you talking about?
And this is why you're Kevin Feige's favorite, because he can completely trust you. Across the franchise, do you guys have a favorite moment for your characters? A specific Gamora scene that you're like, that's the one?
For me, I'm just such an action genre kind of buff. I love action, and I love women in action. Any fight sequences. Yeah. I love training for them. I love working with the stunts. I love, shooting it the day of. I'm addicted to that adrenaline. I really, really do enjoy it.
Yeah, and you're very good at it.
Thank you. You are too, actually. You have good rhythm, I have to say. Because it's hard when you work with actors that are not attached to their bodies.
Yeah.
And you, from the beginning, you were very coordinated, and it was always great to do all the action sequences with you.
I mean, there's one that is online right now that was so much fun to shoot. We're all wearing the space suits, and with the colors, and then I yell hello. It was so much fun to shoot. And it was the disconnection between the tender, beautiful scene between Gamora and Peter Quill talking to each other, and emotional, and then us being we've been listening to everything, and then they thought that was intimate, and me yelling, and it was it's so funny to shoot.
Oh, that is a classic
we had a great day.
And do you have a favorite Nebula moment?
Oh, I loved that scene so much. There's another scene where Star-Lord does a drawing, and it's not the best piece of art I've ever seen in my life. But the scene around that is just so funny. We were all improvising that day. Me and Mantis were improvising a bunch, kind of arguing with each other, and that was just like so much fun to get to let loose with Nebula.
I loved your chemistry between the two. I didn't think like Mantis and Nebula would be like, I don't know, the main pairing, but like, I loved you two together. What was it like working together?
No, but it's funny because in the previous movie we barely had any interaction, even in Avengers as well.
Yeah.
And so it was like nice to get to do scenes together.
Yeah.
But in real life we love each other, we're friends. But in the movie we're like, rah. It's kind of like weird, you know? So in between takes you're like,
I'm sorry, I don't know this.
But that's how the chemistry gets built, right? Like you really gotta stay behind the scenes.
You could ask me this question, I'd probably come up with a different answer any given moment, but what's coming to my mind right now was our first choreographed fight sequence, which happens at the sort of plaza area on Xandar, where we do this whole bit and we're fighting each other. We rehearsed it a whole bunch. You kicked me very hard in the ribs, which still, when it's cold out, I can feel. It's just 10 years. I'm sure it'll get better. It's not something I'll feel until the day I die.
Obviously, these movies have like epic soundtracks every single time, whether it's the Holiday Special, Volume 2, Volume 1. Across the franchise, do you have a favorite like needle drop moment, like a good music moment?
In this movie, the opening song, you know, Creep, was so beautiful and moved me each time.
For me, we did this slow motion walking shot, and we're all in Guardians uniforms, and I think No Sleep Till Brooklyn is playing, and we're about to go into like a big epic scene,
so cool.
And I think that was just cool because the music was blasting when we were walking, and I could just feel how cool we looked.
So when you were filming, they were playing the song?
Yeah, it gives you goosebumps too because you're wearing in the costume, so
and you're like, I'm a Guardian.
Oh man, there's a couple of really great songs. There's a version of Creep that comes out in the opening, which is a stripped down acoustic version of Creep that has very limited release, so it'll be the first time many people have heard that version of that song, which is such an amazing song and really reflective of who these characters are at the beginning of the film. So that's a good one.
Yeah, I was pausing. Pom said the exact same thing.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, then I pick a different one. How about We Care a Lot by Faith No More? That's a pretty good song. Ooh. We care a lot.
And now the franchise is coming to an end, at least with this crew. What will you miss most about working on the films?
The people.
Yeah, it's just working with James and all the actors, you know, and the bond that we all have together, and we have so much fun.
Oh, we just laugh all the time.
Yeah.
Like, truly, these are some of the most fun films I've ever
and
worked on.
And we can really get weird, you know. There's like boundaries.
Yeah, like your weirdness is really encouraged. Within this group of people.
Yeah.
Like the weirder, the better, and so you can kind of just like really let loose.
I would say the 4 hours of makeup.
Yeah.
Every day. Oh my God, waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
She puts on a bunch of
chemicals and fumes.
4 hours of lipstick just to kind of get a feeling.
I'm gonna miss it. Yeah. Green was definitely a great shade for me.